Here we are. We are here. The finals. The final table of the third Pro Tour Overpower Regional. The first Pro Tour that we've had for Overpower since the late 90s. I think the last one was in 99, maybe 2000. It was when the X-Men set was out. And this is the final table. Phil the King Keffer has been on camera a number, so we don't really need to address his deck. I think this is the first time we've seen Thomas Keane. Keffer's going to be up against a variant of the deck he was just playing. So popular in the meta, especially the Seattle area where Thomas Keane plays out of, is this Wicked Witch Sun Wukong stack. But Tom's version is going to be with Joan of Arc, another very powerful character. We actually saw Joan of Arc win a legacy event this season, piloted by John Lewis. Won the Columbus legacy event. Looks like Keffer's choosing to go first. Keffer is going to dupe on his Count of Monte Cristo network of thieves, the 6, which lets him discard 2. Thomas Keane is going to dupe on a 6, but he's going to use our new mulligan rule, and that's going to take him up to a full hand of 8. Something he's going to want against a veteran like Keffer. I do like the flex that Thomas Keane's mat has both of his top 8 pins from the first 2 regionals. Not something that's going to make a veteran like Keffer flinch, but a cool thing to see. Do we know, now that we have the luxury of being after the 4th one, I can't remember, did he even play in?
He did play in packs. I don't think he made top 8 to get a pin,
he didn't quite get the 4th one.
I can't remember if there's any player that got all 4, but
I'll have to go 3 is a pretty big accomplishment. We're definitely going to see Thomas Keane at the Nationals trying to pull that out. First 2 cards down for Thomas are 8s. Keffer has placed his 8 over on Sherlock Holmes.
Interesting.
Keffer is running a split 8 team here, the same as Thomas Keane.
Yeah, it is interesting to see that he does have the 8 energy for Wicked Witch, because I find a lot of people tend to stack Wukong a little bit heavier just because he's a little bit more durable, but...
Now, let me ask you, because I'm not entirely clear. So, early feminist leader boosts what? Combat and intelligence actions by 1 on female characters?
It's, I believe, 2, and it's female characters, yeah. So in this case, it'd be Wicked Witch and herself. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that would be a reason to use the 8. If it affects energy. I think it might even be just...
It definitely affects one of the main 3. So the 8 would get a boost up to a 9, which is important. I'm just curious how much utility is coming out of that. It does make the 8 multi from Joan of Arc a 9. It'll just be interesting to see how exactly he's utilizing this.
Yeah, I'm going to actually check right now, so...
Oh, I've got it right here. Okay. So Joan of Arc and any female teammates are +2 to any combat or intelligent actions for remainder of game.
Was it 1 or 2? I didn't hear what you said.
+2.
Yeah, so that would make that a 10 then, the 8 multi.
So it makes that 8 a 10. Because he can be declared as a combat attack. He gets the 6 down on Wukong. We've been talking about how we love that card. Keffer's got access to his 5 energy. He is playing multiple of those, so he's going to want to get it off before he dupes. But we saw how powerful that effect was in earlier games, getting it through at a key time. Joan of Arc gets her, I believe it's called Blessing of St. Michael? Protection of St. Michael. Joan of Arc or teammate may avoid 1 attack with a combat icon. No intelligence attacks may be made against Joan of Arc's team for remainder of battle. Now, in Overpower, unless it says otherwise, you do have to fulfill the first part of the card before you can do actions on the second part of a card. That question came up a lot. So you do have to avoid the combat attack in order to lock out from the intellect attacks. Now, it's interesting that he places this. A good player like Keffer is going to throw his intelligence attacks. I might have hid that in hand this battle. Keffer's going to want to play from hand. But then again, at the same time, Keffer's only got 2 cards, so he may go 1 and run. So,
yeah, it's interesting because I do think that's probably what's going to happen. But and I think he just placed it to save it. He'd rather use it in suboptimal circumstances. The other thing it could have the effect of is the deterrent effect, where if now he doesn't want to play any teamworks, that could slow him down.
Is it? Sorry, I know I just read it. One attack with a combat icon. Oh, interesting. So he can't use the teamwork.
Yeah, the teamwork would be ideal for Thomas if he played the teamwork first and then locked out the
What
rest
would
of
be
the intellect.
ideal is if he threw like the 4 multi, because the lockout part will lock out both the teamwork and the network of thieves.
That's
and that
right.
one defensive action would lock Kefir out for 3 cards. So this is a position we haven't seen Kefir in very often here. He does not have a great opening salvo here. So he bets 1. Tom bets 2. Kefir may be doing what he did before his patented make a low bet and then do a little bit of fighting. If the 5 is to connect here, it would get a card out of Thomas's hand with the Baker Street. But Thomas has the any power 5. He blocks that incredibly powerful card. And he's going to throw something back. Now, Kefir's hoping he uses a placed card. I would oblige him. I'd be throwing that 6 right over at Leonidas.
I actually like this play. I think this is good from a duping point of view and from a pressure point of view. This will essentially end the battle as well.
So you're saying you would do that and then do both power card follow-ups?
I would definitely consider both, just because it's a kill shot. It forced him to play 1 card from hand. As soon as he defends, I would stop throwing. But to get 2 colors on a character this early and still win venture, I think is that's.
Well, he would have to have something that puts a second color. Well, I see what you're saying from that.
Yeah.
So Kefir uses the 7 to defend. Now the question is, does he keep firing off with those 2 cards? He's going to go with the 6. Oh, he's going to play the early feminist leader offensively now that he is pretty certain Kefir doesn't have the negate, and he's going to throw that as an 8 on Monte Cristo. Now what's great here is if Kefir can't defend that, he's going to throw the other 8, which will get the +1 and come over as a 9, representing a 10 kill shot from the Wicked Witch. And Kefir's almost certainly going to have to run here.
I don't think that he can legally make the 8 follow-up because Wukong would not get the early feminist leader bonus.
Well, Wukong threw the teamwork.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. So I take it back. Yeah, the 6 was coming from Joan of Arc. Yeah, never mind. I thought the teamwork was coming from Joan of Arc. No, you're right.
Yep.
That's legal. I take it back.
Yep. Now, the problem here is Thomas doesn't have any cards in hand. So wherever Kefir decides, Kefir can throw that network of fanatics and get rid of the 8 multi, but Thomas knows then the 6 still kills Count of Monte Cristo. So this attack is just calculated perfectly. We don't know what's in Kefir's hand, so Kefir's taken a long time to calculate this. But we certainly know from this amount of thought, it is not putting Kefir in a place he wants to be in.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he can look at that teamwork as essentially dead as well because of the Joan of Arc card, and even the Wukong card coming next will get rid of it.
Well, it's not exactly dead. So if he was to throw the 6 to get rid of the Wicked Witch, it's dead in the fact that if he can't block the Wukong 6, he'll die. But if he throws the 6 first and then he throws the 8, he's basically putting him to a choice of just blocking the teamwork 1 for 1. It's no longer going to lock anything else out.
Right.
So he does have an order of operation where he could empty his hand. He could put some KO pressure on a character. But
I don't know if it's going to result in a KO, though. I think he's going to lose a character long before Thomas would.
He certainly, this is putting him in a rough position. Clearly, Kefir has something to defend the 8, but doesn't have exactly what he needs to follow back up in the other direction. So either that or the 8 is hit, and Kefir's trying to decide if he's willing to lose Count of Monte Cristo this early, which a follow-up attack would almost guarantee it.
I mean, he did lose already. He duped a 6, so if he's only running 2, he might only be looking at the 2-1 protects and a Jacobo left, depending on how many Jacobos he's running. But if he's running 2, then that's going to be 4 cards still for Monte Cristo.
Oof, Kefir is really really trying to debate this. And this is what's great about the finals. For those who don't know, the finals at all of our Pro Tour events are decided under a no clock and unlimited time limit. So even if you have a deck that perhaps plays a little bit faster and worries less about the time limit, you have to be able to close out a final match where time is not going to be a factor. The only way to win this is to win the venture, force them to lose the venture, or kill all three characters. There is no timing out. So Kefir's going to take the 8, like we said. He's going to fire back with the 6. That's going to get rid of the 8. There's nothing he can do about it.
No, maybe Thomas didn't understand what the card did.
Well, I still think Thomas has the 6 off Sun Wukong, which is still for the kill.
Yeah.
So that hits. And I think that you fire this 6 back. Let's see what you make him have it. He made a choice. I don't think he's thinking about that choice that long if he can defend this 6.
No, this is going to be interesting because if he can't defend the 6, he can't KO anybody. And I think if I'm Thomas, I think I'm pretty happy with the way this went down, because he would have to spend the teamwork probably. I guess he could play the 8 back and it would. Okay, he sacrificed him.
The 6 went through. Now listen, there could have been a crazy play here if he has the any power teamwork in his hand and can go 6-8 and kill Wicked Witch back.
True.
But I think all he has here is the threat of killing a character. And honestly, if I'm Thomas here, Kefir only went 1.
Yeah.
I think I give it to him.
I would.
I put my 2 to the bottom. I leave my Wicked Witch. I've still got some defense from the protection of St. Michael. I think you take the advantage, hope Kefir starts to dupe out, and you go to the next hand.
Yeah, I think...
It looks like exactly what Thomas Keen's going to do. He shows he's got a 3 multi in hand, so he did have the kill shot. It would have been blocked out with the protection of St. Michael, but why use it?
Yeah, I think that protection of St. Michael really disrupted how Phil wanted to play that hand. Because
Phil, unfortunately, is going to draw 3 off Monte Cristo. I didn't see any other cards to it.
I think he's got a Jacobo.
Looks like maybe a Jacobo. So a dupe 800, a Jacobo, and a draw 3. Thomas Keen taking out the right target. Not only does he lose 3 cards, he loses... The Jacopo is so dangerous when you have 2 hits on a character and the ability to draw 3. That is a hand winner. And he's, Kefir's playing from a position he doesn't want to play at, which is not having that placing advantage he's used to. Now, Isis, the 2 multi, is going to come up. Let's talk about how rough of a card that Isis is right at this point, too. Kefir's defense in his hand, out of the few cards that he drew, is a full negate. And that Isis and those allies are going to get directly around that.
Yeah, he's got to spend something like a 6 to stop that 2 multi unless he takes it. But the one good thing that's going for Phil is he is ahead on Venture. So if he does manage to somehow pull off this hand or make it close, then he could still have the Venture momentum. And if he draws clean going forward, he might have a chance.
Kefir's got a 7 intellect in his hand, too. So the other problem is if Thomas Keen chooses to target Leonidas instead of Sherlock Holmes, Kefir's power card defense on his split grid is going to work very much against him.
Yeah, I think he's relying on the 300 to do the heavy lifting there, but he just duped 1, too.
Ooh, and that is not what Kefir wants to see.
Yep.
Thomas Keen pulls Harness the Wind, meaning he has got arguably the most powerful card, and he's got his negate, and he's got his Hades. Ugh.
So
Kefir's been around long enough to know that is a bunch of placing on the other side of the board that you do not want to see. He's got the ability to mitigate any huge bet that Kefir is to make. He can negate a special, including the 8 that comes over. He's got offense that isn't specials to get a few hits through.
Yeah, that's like a wall that's going to mitigate a lot of the Venture momentum that Phil could potentially put together.
Well, and especially, the protection of St. Michael, now that I'm thinking about it, I wasn't sure what the Joan of Arc plan is, but remember, Thomas Keen knows he's going to be going up against a number of Leonidases, and that shuts down the 8 power cards and the 300 card.
Yeah.
It avoids the attack and gets the intellect lockout.
Yep. No, I mean, I think anything combat related, even brute force, I think is pretty solid too. I even like the Wukong avoid brute force icon in some contexts. I'm curious to see how much Thomas decides to venture here.
Kefir only goes one again. Kefir's got 2 cards in his hand. He's got 4 cards placed. Thomas Keene has got more than that. I'll go at least 3. That's what Thomas goes. He gives Kefir another card. I can't tell the card Thomas has in his hand. He's definitely got another special. I haven't been able to make it out. So we've got a little bit of an X factor. I think Kefir draws a 4 multi for Sherlock Holmes. I think he's got a 2 brute force and
He's got Hades.
He's got a 4 multi, a Hades, and a 7 intellect in his hand.
That Hades is actually useful. I'm curious to see if he's actually going to play it with the Merlin placed, or if he's just going to concede, depending on how much he wants to play this battle. If he plans on playing it, you probably play it early.
If I'm going first, I'm immediately Hadesing. I'm either gonna let me try to catch up on placed cards, or I'm gonna chew up that negate.
Yeah.
He's gonna go for the KO pressure though. Now.
Yep.
That's actually, see, and this is why Kefir's the best. He plays that. He sucks out the big defensive card that's really jamming up his day. And now he can use the Hades and not even worry about having to negate that or play around it.
The only issue with this, I think he may have given Thomas a reason to negate the Hades now for sure. With the Merlins.
But I think that's what he wants. Well, that's the problem though. Is now if he throws a couple of chains here, he's got a lot of offensive pressure.
Yeah. But I mean, all his intellect icon is going to be defensive now anyway because of the Joan of Arc card that was just played.
Isis. Interestingly enough, I'm surprised he's going for Watson here, but remember, Watson's probably an easier target, and he is generating a repeating 2 venture every single battle. Not a bad thing to get out from under if you're really thinking about the future. That was the art I didn't recognize. So that's a 4, and then each one of the other teammates can make an additional attack. I forget Joan of Arc had that card.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Oh, and it's the discard.
Discard the place card on the negate. Kefir does not want to see that. There's nothing he can do about it. He's just going to have to negate it.
I don't think there was any workaround unless he would have just Hades immediately, but...
And then he's still going to do the 3rd attack with the Sun Wukong. He's just going to dump everything he can get out of his hand. And Kefir's not representing a way to really chain back unless he's got a teamwork card in his hand. So
I'm curious why he put that there. That's something that confuses me with some players. But I guess he does have a Wukong 11 that could complete there. But I would just rather see him spend another place card personally.
I'll be honest, I've sort of with Modern, my strategy lately has been just accepting a lot of the KOs are going to be 4. I've been playing more for the cumulative than optimizing the spectrum. I find in Modern too much I'm ending up in a situation where so he throws the 8, that is the kill shot. It's going to draw the Merlin, which means the Hades is now in play here.
Yep. Actually, that's changed quite a bit. I guess Phil can't throw the 8, and he's got a 7 intellect in his hand.
If I'm Tom, I actually think I'm going to take the opportunity here. I'm going to throw that ally at Dr. Watson and maybe go right into the Hades. Maybe I just Hades myself out of this hand. Painting up a second character, he's only got a couple of hits.
Oh, interesting.
Nope. He's going to get the Harness the Wind in play.
That's good for Phil.
Now he's got 12 damage. He's got an 8 showing that he can't defend. And Kefir just Hades himself.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Phil's happy with that icon or with that outcome. I think he's fine to take damage on Watson.
I'm confused though. Was Thomas out of cards?
Yep.
Why would he not just attack with his 7 and his 8 and win the venture?
Because of the St. Michael's card.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you. He couldn't throw either of those
that's right.
cards,
They were
so
defensive
that's
only.
why Thomas did the ally into the gather the wins.
Yeah.
Um, he did have
All
two
right.
cards in hand, so it was hard for him to know what was in there. So I think he made the right choice there. Actually, I think that for Thomas with the lack of information, that was actually a great play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
All right, so
unfortunate
Thomas
that he
puts
had that.
down an ally. He's got another one of the Joan of Arc fours that's going to allow the other people to make an additional attack.
He does have a Gemini as well, so he can go and fetch that harness the wind back, or even the protection of St. Michael's.
Which would be very sneaky. If he got that out right here, that's going to block the teamwork. It's going to block the 300. It's going to. Who knows what's in his hand. Now, Keffer's also got his Gemini in his hand, as well as Not a Bad Detective, which in this particular situation is a great card. You know you're past all of the negating that Thomas's deck can do. You're past the Harness the Wind. Um,
And I think he's just like
yeah.
seeing it before he loses the character as well, because he probably only has one, maybe two copies at the most.
I think though, if I'm the first Gemini, I'm just taking Harness the Wind again. You know, like Keffer. Have we seen Keffer's Merlin? I can't remember if we've seen it or I don't think we have.
No, we did see his Sherlock Holmes one, so he can't Gemini for the Sherlock Holmes negate.
If he has to, but that'll take multiple turns.
Yeah.
I think I'm Geminiing. I'm just getting the Harness the Wind, and I'm just gonna rely on trying to get some KO pressure again.
Yeah, that could be the way to do it. I mean, I don't see a lot of intellect icons that wouldn't be played. Like it would stop just the 8 essentially at this point, based on what he can see. Maybe the teamwork at the 8 got played first, but I just doubt that would happen. Okay, and he placed the 5. I mean, that's a really nasty combo. Like the chain that he has placed is really gross. The ally followed by the 5, followed by the 7. I mean, that's a KO shot right there. Plus the 3 multi can come after.
Oof, man, Thomas has got some heat. And keep in mind what we said earlier. Thomas still has his Hades. Thomas can put all these cards placed. Keffer's only got 4 cards placed. He could just bet 1 in Hades and say, I'm out of here. I got 1 card in hand. Let's go to the next hand and fight this when I've got the 8, 9 cards placed, you know?
Yep. And I mean, very few of those
8
cards will
cards.
even dupe either. That's the other issue that Phil runs into. Whereas his will dupe.
Yeah. He's almost like, certainly the Gemini won't. The One Eye won't. We've seen one of the team coordinations. I forget what that rally our troops off Joan of Arc. He may be running a third.
He
He's
is.
probably not running more than one. I'll make you famous.
Yeah. No, I agree. Now the universe cards would dupe, so yeah, it's basically the 5 and the 3 at the most, and there's probably one ofs left in the deck.
Well, he bets probably looks like a 2 bet from the middle, and he's going to fight. So he wants to put this pressure on, take advantage of Doc Watson only having 3 cards in hand, and he immediately takes down Watson. That's going to kill a card in Keffer's hand. I believe he's got a Not a Bad Detective in his hand.
Yep. And I mean, he only has a Freya and the place cards to stop whatever's coming next. I think the other power cards are 2. And I don't know if could you play reserve follow up with the Joan of Arc? Does it say frontline follow ups or is it
I believe
teammates?
it says each frontline teammate.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Let me check.
I thought that's what they typically said too, because I think you'd see too many follow ups otherwise.
All right, let us check the Oracle text. Each frontline teammate may make 1 additional attack.
That's a good restriction.
Inspirational Leadership is the name of that 4.
Right.
So it's going to go out. It's going to follow the ally. It's going to hit Sherlock Holmes. I didn't see who he said, but one of the frontline characters is throwing a 3 multi. Another just brutal card. And having that 2 brute force in hand is just...
Yep. So
insult to injury on wanting to make these defenses. And Kefir finds himself ahead on Venture, but in the unusual position for him of just being on his heels as far as the beatdown goes. And what I think that's interesting about what he's dealing with from this Thomas Keane deck is it's not doing a lot of its traditional tricks. It hasn't healed. It hasn't sunk a big Venture win. It's just, I think this is coming across as a 5. He just tapped the Joan of Arc card. So this may be a 5 coming across as combat from.
I think it was placed at Wukong, so I don't think this one did. But the 7 that was placed at Witch earlier would have been a 9. That would have forced the Freya. Because Wukong's male, right? Or I guess he's monkey male. I don't know. He's
a male character.
Yeah, I think he's considered male. Interesting.
Here comes the ally, and it looks like we're going to get a transformation trickery on Joan of Arc, so he can choose now to shift all the attacks at Joan of Arc, really taking the wind out of the sails here for the offense for Kefir.
Is it Sherlock dead? Oh, no, I guess, yeah, sorry. He has
but
this.
he basically blocked everything.
Yeah.
Kefir's going to go for his Gemini, and what do you even get at this point?
It's got to be the negate, I think, for Sherlock. It's the only option to protect him.
You could try to sneak the 5 through, but is Keane even got any cards left in hand?
I don't think he does, and it's the ally Billy the Kid card that's coming next, right?
And that's, if you don't have the negate for the Billy the Kid card. I don't believe Keane's going for the win, so... I
don't even think he can. He's got too many in the bottom, but... I just don't think Phil can give up the Venture momentum.
I'm sorry. Those are in the bottom. I, for some reason, was thinking that was Keane's top pile and his middle pile. So just go, hope you get... I'm throwing the ally and the Billy the Kid card and hoping, he's going to use the negate and the 3's going to do a little damage. You've got the transformation trickery. You're really not worried about the crackback.
Yep. And the teamwork is live, though, so the teamwork could be used to KO Joan of Arc. But I still think Thomas is okay making that trade. I'd rather get 2 colors on Sherlock.
Especially at this point. If we haven't seen the 8-half multi.
Yeah, I think she would have she's still got a couple cards left in the deck, but I still don't think it matters.
And he's going to use the Gemini as his follow-up.
Oh, so now he won't even lose her. He'll probably grab the Protection of St. Michael's back. But Phil could negate this. And if I were him, I would. If you want to KO Joan of Arc, that is.
He's going to get to KO someone because he's probably going to throw the teamwork at Wicked Witch. And then it'll probably get Transformation Trickery over to Joan of Arc.
Yeah, the issue, though, is he'd be trading Sherlock then, so I think he did the right thing.
He let him go get it, though.
Yeah, that's what...
Oof,
that's
maybe that was a mistake on Kefir's part. I think Kefir might not have been thinking of that card because that's going to make it now where he can't really get the KO in.
Yeah, but if he did, then he wouldn't have had defense for the 5 and he would have lost Sherlock. So I think this way it stays neutral. He gets his 2 colors on, but I mean, he still loses Venture.
Yeah, it's just any way you slice it, this is not a great position for Kefir.
No.
Thomas might be smart here to try to put the Hades through at this point. He's done his damage. He's painted up Sherlock Holmes, about to leave him with just Leonidas. If he can Hades out of this battle, there's no time limit. He doesn't care that Kefir's up a couple missions. I think I would just Hades out of this. Now, he doesn't know he's got the negate. He does know he Gemini'd. He's got a good idea. No intellect attacks can come through.
I mean, that would force the trade if that's the goal, right? Like, I think that's the smart play. If he does have a negate...
the trade, it looks like what he's thinking. Yeah. So Kefir's going to decide here. I've got a negate in hand. I can negate this. I can take out Joan of Arc. But then he's going to fire back with the Billy the Kid. I think Kefir's got to just eat this and let him run.
Yeah, nothing's
He's
worse
got
than negating a Hades and then losing Venture. Yeah.
he's got to, he's got the dead card, killing the Watson really was a big factor that battle.
Yep.
And Thomas Keane is playing this flawlessly. He is really played every decision he's made so far has been perfect. Keffer finds himself on the other side of some, I wouldn't say terrible variance, but certainly suboptimal variance. And Thomas Keane is just leaning on him. He's just not letting him get back in it, and he's really taking advantage of some of this KO pressure. So
that being said, he's used up both shifts now. He's used up his Gemini, so the stuff that Phil has to really be concerned about is only the Wukong 11 and the Wukong Avoid draw. I don't think there's much left in. I mean, there's the anti-heroes like the Grim Reaper and stuff like that, but outside of that, I think Keffer's actually in decent shape, especially because there was so many Hades. Only one set of missions moved. It's only the first hands missions that are having any impact on the game right now. Phil winning the one and Thomas losing the two.
So interestingly enough here, Sherlock Holmes is almost dead. So Keffer draws a mitt full of power cards. He's got one aspect card, but he decides to go in and take the 8 to place to Leonidas. He does have the full team avoid for Leonidas and the 7 for Sherlock. It's just an interesting choice. There's another strategy where he could have kept the 8 any power in hand and allowed that to be a defense for both characters. But he chooses to take 2 8s that are kill shots on both the Wicked Witch and Joan of Arc.
I think that's his last 8 as well, because he did have the 8 intellect earlier in the match, so that could be why he wanted to place it instead.
He gets that full avoid placed. He's going to fill up his aspect placing slot. Thomas Keane has already used his Isis. Thomas Keane is showing, though, in any power teamwork. Now, he does place it to Sun Wukong, which is his least damaged character.
That teamwork, though, is going to be nasty if he's got 2 follow-ups at +2 coming from the 2 women.
That's a great point, too. Even if they're low power cards, if they're coming through and getting a little bit of a boost, that's big. Thomas Keane trying to decide if he wants to put a card on Joan of Arc when she is 1-8 away from KO.
That I probably wouldn't have placed.
I think the thought here is it's a 1. Keffer's placing out. Keffer's in a position to easily go 1 and run, which is what he wants to do. He needs to try to get himself back in this game. I don't hate putting a 1 down and just saying, like, if you run, you're facing a completed teamwork for sure. Attack 1 next battle.
True, it's just the 1 doesn't add any pressure unless you're, like, even if he throws it on Leonidas. I still think I'd probably take the 1, but... I guess you don't miss the 1 if she does get KO'd, though.
I think that's his mentality, is that the worst case scenario is some big attack goes through, it finishes off Joan of Arc. But I think he's just hedging against the running here. Keffer's managed to put down 6 pretty decent cards. There's only 5 cards right now placed from Thomas. I don't know if that's because he can't or what the situation is. Now I'm guessing, I haven't seen one from Keffer yet. I'm guessing Keffer is not playing any of Sherlock Holmes's offensive negates. And I will say, I think this might be one part of the deck building where we've seen cards the entire game that card would have been good against. And I think that might be an old school mentality of, I don't want to have to take a turn to do this. Whereas I think in the new environment, it's a good card. I think I would always be running at least one of those. Especially when there's so many stronger remainder of game cards like Early Feminist Leader that taking a turn to take it out could spin the entire game back in your favor.
No, I agree. I even like them just for removing special card hits because your defense tends to be capped at a numerical value, whereas that negate is just remove a special card of any size. So I like that for 11s, 9s, anything that's big. I think Phil ventured 1.
Looked like just one.
Thomas is thinking, and yeah, the other thing about placing that 1 is I guess that could defend an ally that's coming, but oh, okay, so Thomas must have ventured. I just can't see what he did.
Well, we're not sure what the venture is, but Thomas still looks like he's got 3 in the middle, so it doesn't look like it's been a huge bet.
I think it would be 2 then, because I see 2 in the bottom.
Maybe he just went the 2. I mean, Keffer still only got a couple of cards in hand, and big pressure against Sherlock Holmes is still the thing he's got to worry about.
Yeah.
Now, I think Thomas might have another inspirational leadership in hand here that would allow him to go 4-4, attack from Sun Wukong, attack from Wicked Witch.
Which
it's another brutal chain. We only see 2 certain defenses on Sherlock Holmes right now.
Is that card's a 5 or a 4? I can't remember.
4.
So it would be a 6 then, right? Because it's combat?
Yep. So he's going to shift it and just say, I'll go evensies, and we'll go 8 for 8. So Thomas does 2 for 1 himself, but he gets rid of one of the big threats that Keffer had, and now it's a question of what does he want to do here?
Oh, he has another teamwork.
He's got a teamwork from hand?
Yeah.
That's going to represent 6 venture and take him up to 13, meaning the 7 would be for the kill also.
Yeah, that could be at +2, right? Is it the icon?
I believe so, yeah.
I think it's the attacks, right?
Because it's combat actions on the card, not...
Okay.
So as long as he's playing that through the combat or the intelligence grid, it is coming through as an 8 and going up over the top. Now, remember, he's got the Leonidas Avoid. That's going to just be a 7, so it is blockable with the placed 7. But Thomas has emptied his hand. So I think you'll probably see the one... I don't know who the 7 came from.
The 7 had to come from Wukong. So yeah, the teamwork could have come from Witch.
So I don't know about this play. I think this is a little too cute for me. I think Thomas is giving him a point where he knows the 8 is going to kill Joan of Arc and get rid of the teamwork. But the question is, can he block the 4 and the 5? We're not sure what's in his hand. The 4 is a kill shot, the 5 is a kill shot, and Thomas moves a mission.
Keep in mind, the 4 is a 6 coming from one of the women. Oh, no, sorry, it's the wrong icon. Yeah, you're right. I don't think Phil can defend both. I don't think he can defend 1.
Am I missing why Keffer wouldn't just throw the 8? Well, he throws the 4 and he gets the same effect. He loses the 1, he effectively strands the teamwork, and we know what Keen's going to do. He's going to put this pressure on here.
There's nothing that Phil can do to stop this, though. He only has 1 card left. Unless it's in a gate.
Well, he's got the place.
Oh, he has the place to void.
The thing is, he needs to be able to block the 4 and the 5. Or he should just let him die, because he doesn't want to block the 4 and then die to the Make It Famous and give Thomas Keen a free mission all the way to the completed. So if he can't block both, he just needs to let him die and then let the focus go over to Leonidas.
I don't know if you want to take a 5/5 multi on your last character, though.
That's the point. Like, I think that's why it's great for Thomas. I think maybe you're right. Maybe he wants to use the full avoid. I think he's not in power pack yet. Maybe use the 8 defensively. It's not a great position for Keffer right now. Thomas is doing exactly like what they say in poker. It's not making him make a decision for all his chips, but he's making them in overpower. You always want to make somebody have to make a decision for KO. Yeah. That's where you start to affect on the long enough timeline. It's the anxiety, it's the frustration of not being able to go on the offensive. That's what you're trying to create constantly to really control a game.
And if Phil does let him die, he just doesn't even have to throw the 5, really, if you wanted to save it. But I would probably spend it to get rid of the 8 or the other card placed.
Because we know if this could block the 4, he would block the 4, he would avoid the 5, and he would win venture. So I think he's doing some math here. So he's saying, all right, that'll put you at 10. I'll be at 12. I can still win the venture here if I have to.
I think he's hoping to KO Wicked Witch too, right? With the 8.
Probably. Put himself back even with that.
And then they would be 2 characters to 1. Which is not the worst. It's the teamworks that you lose that's the biggest issue.
But again, Thomas is in the position where I don't think it's going to affect him very much. You know, we haven't seen Cloud Surfing or the 11.
Yeah, there's a lot of Wukong
or
stuff
Grasp
in
of
there.
the 5 Elements.
That's
like
right.
Sun Wukong's bottom. This bottom of Thomas's deck is every bomb Sun Wukong brings to the game.
Yeah.
Whereas Wicked Witch, we've seen the 8, we've seen the 7, we've seen a discard a placed card, we've seen a shift. Maybe there's a second one of those or a 4 energy. But taking these 2 characters out is probably going to generate a maximum of 3.
And
so he's going to take the 4. Sherlock Holmes is dead. Leonidas is all that's left. Is Thomas Keane following up? He passes. He lets Wicked Witch die. And he's probably going to concede.
I would throw the 5.
Go into the next hand.
I would throw it. I would force him to use the Avoid, especially with a Wukong 11 still in the deck. You want to be able to get Leonidas to 9 points and then finish him with the 11 or guarantee your 11.
Yep, that's a great point. I probably would have conceded, but now that I just said I'll save this 5, I know it's not going to dupe. But now that you say that, yeah, like put him in a position now to play the Avoid or take the 5.
Yeah, now any hit of damage just counts like a ton, right? Because it's so limited with how much Phil can take. It is still it's still a close game though because of the Venture situation. If Tom was ahead on Venture, if they were reversed, that would change a lot of things. But
Thomas Keane's going to keep it. He's going to concede.
Yep.
There was a 3 brute force in hand. Thomas is going into this next one with a teamwork and a 5 half multi. Early feminist leader is still technically in play, but there's no female characters. So I think just for posterity's sake, they're going to move it to the discard pile. If there were another card that mattered, there is technically still a special out there. Not as big of a deal in this environment. In Skybound, there are some cards that are going to affect the number of specials that are in play. Keffer's going to drop 3. It looks like he did have another Joan of Arc 4. Now, he puts the 7 by mistake in the power pack, and that's hopefully going to be a mistake that doesn't come back and bite him. He cannot play the 7 intellect. He is allowed to put it in the dead pile at this point.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to be drawing that later, but he's mistakenly put it in his power pack, and that could be huge later. Keffer has come up against his Grim Reaper this hand. That's going to be a hard one to block unless we have the cloud surfing. But it's also something to point out. Keffer has not seen his fairy protection.
Yep.
Which could give him an ability to go for the win here. He doesn't have it, but he could try to concede into it.
I mean, at this point, if Thomas can't defend the Reaper, Phil could go for the win and pull it off.
Yeah, this could be a dangerous hand for Thomas Keane, who's controlled the narrative of this game the entire time. Thomas's advantage is he is going first. It looks like he's got Grasp of the 5 Elements in his hand, which is a big venture removal. But
that's a tough one because it's almost like whether you should play. He's got also
he has
fairy
his
protection.
Fairy protection in his hand, so he's got the block.
Wow.
I think that fairy protection, I would place it. I think
100%.
He might be trying to get cute here. Just put it down on the round table and don't use it till you need it.
I would place both. I would place fairy protection and the Grasp of the 5 Elements in that case because it's forced now.
Yep. Keffer's only got 6 cards here, and he's got a shield of protection that can protect the Monkey King. This is the time where you got to just start hammering him on KO.
Yeah, he is going to
Fairy
choose to place
protection
it.
goes down on the round table. Absolutely the right call.
Now, if somehow you knew your opponent had a Grim Reaper and you could keep those in hand to bait them into making a big venture mistake, that's when I would. But without being able to know that information for certain, I wouldn't risk it. And I would do exactly what Thomas is doing now.
Yep. And look, if you force him into Billy the Kid, great.
Yeah.
How much is Billy the Kid really going to have in that deck? You know, And you're going to be looking too. All right, so Keffer's going to go for the win.
Jeez.
He gives Thomas
Wow,
2 cards.
even with that placed, that's really surprising to me. I guess he's going to force the cards off.
Yep. So Thomas is going to go 2. Thomas has got to be sweating here that he's up against an opposing fairy protection, and 1 hit is going to kill him. Keffer sees that place though, and it does not dissuade him.
Yeah. Now it's how he's gonna. I think he's gonna try to get the Reaper through by landing. Or sorry, I think he's gonna try to use the Reaper and the 6 to try to get one of them through. So if he's able to burn off the fairy protection with the Reaper, then that could clear the path for the 6, which would stop Thomas from playing the Grasp of the 5 Elements. He's got the Leonidas 6. And if that happens, that could be enough to swing things, but it's whether or not he's got enough left in his hand afterwards. But again, Thomas could just play. I mean, yeah, we'd have to Grim Reaper Billy the Kid to leave Wukong open and then hope that your 6 lands at the right time. So I think this could be winnable for both players.
I mean, Keffer, it's really interesting that one lockout here could have been the key. You know, like 1 card. And that's also, look, you got to go for Sherlock Holmes in the situation that he was in.
Yeah.
But it's another factor that, you know, when you're down to 1 character, if you force them to be unable to be attacked, it is a win condition where you can make a huge bet. But again, this is another reason why there's so many characters in the environment right now that have offensive-only negates or cards that clear remainder of battle cards. Older players don't like those cards because they don't contribute directly to the adventure, and they're a little bit situational. But getting a lockout win is not situational, especially when the most played Cataclysm can do it when you're down to 1 character. That's why those cards are good, and in my opinion, being very underplayed.
Yeah. It is just very rare to see when usually you're in Phil's position where you're down characters and you've usually lost adventures along the way. Curious that he played it on Wukong.
Well, remember, I think what he's also trying to do is, he has the cloud surfing. He's down.
Wow.
He's going to avoid the Grim Reaper and get the draw because he's down, and he draws his own Grim Reaper.
Wow.
He draws his own Grim Reaper off the avoid.
Wow. I think that may
just throw it.
Yeah.
You just throw it here, and you whatever come what may.
Oh, and he's got the 11.
And he's got the 11, which counts to venture.
Yeah, they're both live. So in this case, yeah, he's got it.
Keffer's going to use the avoid. He doesn't know he's facing the Grim Reaper. Now, what Keffer wanted is to play that 6 on Billy to lock out the ability to use specials. And now he can't really do it because the fairy protection can come back in.
Yeah.
What a rough situation. He had both the 1 protects for Wukong. 3. He drew all 3 that hand.
Yep.
And the extra draw off the cloud surfing because Wukong has more in the defeated mission pile gives him the Grim Reaper. What a swing.
One thing Keffer does have going for him is he only has the combat icon placed. So if he plays a 6 and Thomas calls combat, he's wasting his Reaper.
Well, the thing about Keffer's hand is I think he actually has 1 card in all 4 icons. He's got the 6 brute force, he's got the 4 energy make an additional attack, and I think his other one is an intelligence card.
Okay, I thought it was the 7 energy, the anti-hero, but
it could be. So maybe he had double energy, but there's no way that's what he's calling combat to get at least 1 card.
Yeah. Yeah, if the 6 remains placed, he's going to call combat. Then it's not a waste.
What I might do if I was Keffer here is, I would have just conceded there, but if he's going to throw, he almost has to throw the 6. Well, he has no idea he's facing the Grim Reaper, so he's not going to do that. He's probably just going to throw something else from hand.
Yeah, he's going to save the defense, I think. It's his only defensive card left is that 6. Oh, he is throwing it. Okay. That I think is the right play given the circumstances. He's going to have to eat some stuff in return.
It's the best play because now Thomas is almost certainly going to throw the Grim Reaper here and call combat. and it's going to whiff. Unless, look, this is why these people, I will say, both of the people at this table are better players than me. He may actually just look at his hand and be like, you know what, the Grim Reaper's dead. Let me get the damage while I can. I mean, maybe you just poke out there with a 7 intellect any character card and see what happens. See if it gets defended.
So I would actually prefer Phil to play more cards if it were me. I'd rather see him empty more hands because it would guarantee that my teamwork and follow-up one of them would land that way. But it gives Phil the out to concede to avoid the damage.
Yeah, I think at this point, see, I love this play by Thomas. I think that this is such a high-level play. You look at a card like Grim Reaper and you salivate, but I think, just see what he's got. Do you got the fairy protection? Are you going to have to use something, or are you just taking a really off-color 7 for what I've got placed?
Yeah. Well, because
neither one of those icons are on the Billy 5. He's got a 4 multi-placed. I'll know if you can block a 7 or not. Like, this is just...
And a 7 power
this.
card follow-up from that teamwork is a kill shot. So if he's got it, he could end the game with that teamwork.
Well, and the problem here for Kefir, too, is he needs to win this hand because he's going to draw his fairy protection. He's not going to be able to place it, and he's not going to be able to go for the win.
I think yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I don't think he can win this battle.
And you almost know that he can't. At this point, if he could win the battle, he would block this. Now, this is something to be said for that one misplay Thomas actually did make. He should have fairy protection Billy the Kid the first attack that was made. If Kefir had his lockout here and locked him out, he would win the game. Whereas if he'd funneled all the hits to Sun Wukong, he still would have had that grasp of the 5 elements.
Yeah, but Phil does have the Leonidas 6 still, right? So that would shut that down. He doesn't know this, but...
He doesn't know that. And Kefir, the other problem is, what Kefir's facing right now is, he doesn't want to run here, even though he should, because he'll lose the 6. The 6 continues to get reshuffled.
Yeah.
He wants to reshuffle that every hand, and now he's unfortunately in a position where if he doesn't take a turn to throw it and then get the crack back, he's not going to continue to have it the rest of the game, and that's also a huge issue for him. So, again, just... Kefir's managed to keep himself in a venture position. You're right about the 7.
Yep.
See, I think if you're going to take the turn here, you throw the 6, right?
Yeah, I think I would have thrown the 6 as well.
Because you're just going to have to concede here. You can't defend anything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that being said, Thomas could just take the 6 and make the same play, and then you still lose your 6, but... It would give you a shot to win the venture and potentially do a spiritual thing.
I mean, there's nothing to think about here.
Yeah.
Kefir has to concede or he loses the game. His guy just dies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's saying I was trying to pin that with the 6 so you couldn't get the venture off, but
he still had it.
I just didn't have the cards. Leonidas is down to, he has how much damage on him? He has a 4
17.
Multi. He has, oof, man, he... is it 17 damage, 2 colors. The Billy the Kid card represents the kill. Pretty much any of the combat that Sun Wukong and Billy are going to throw is.
Yeah, the only thing he can take is a 1 or a 2 intellect power card. Everything else would kill him.
We see the Joan of Arc 8 finally comes back. He's got to select the Slain.
I see a confusion.
Which will select out of the power pack. It looks like all of his cards were the last 8 cards he had in the draw pile.
Phil does have the fairy protection now.
But let's see how much he gets rid of. He's got 3 of those so far.
Oh, he has Merlin too, so imagine if he had the Merlin last time.
Thomas is trying to decide if he wants to place the confusion at this point.
It's a discard, right?
I think he's asking if he has to discard it. No, he does not.
He does not, yeah.
But I think it's that could be a little bit of a tell. Kefir's smart enough to know what would he be asking about at this point that he's not sure about.
Yeah.
That's what it would have to be. So that card's a dead card in his hand. Unless Kefir does something silly like placing a teamwork, but Even if you don't have the follow-ups, as long as it's a playable teamwork by Leonidas, he would not have to discard it.
Yeah.
Freya, oof, geez, just it's like trying to walk when you're like knee deep in the mud here. This whole game for Kefir. Every time he thinks he might have an avenue, it's like another barrier goes out. With all of the bombs that have already gone by in Kefir's deck and Leonidas is one hit away, getting over that Freya is tough. And Thomas can still take the damage. He's only got an energy hit on each character. He can remove all the hits from Sun Wukong.
Yeah, even that 3 intellect ally is for the kill.
Yep. It's just this is really piling up here. Look, we've seen some crazy comebacks in our overpowered days, but Thomas doesn't look like he's doing anything to. He's not making any mistakes. He's continuing to place to guarantee he has a placing advantage. As long as he doesn't do anything too crazy with a bet on a hand where he can get and then forget that the fairy protection is live, he's going to be in a good situation.
Yeah, he just needs to be able to conserve his ability to venture for the win. I think there's so much damage on Leonidas, though, that this is next to impossible for Phil to win this, but he's the king.
Phil goes 4 from the top. He's going to give him a couple of
I think it's just 3 because he went 4 last time.
Oh, right. Okay. So he gets the card. He's just going 3. Looks like it's a keeper.
And he drew, I think,
one of the cards in Kefir's hand is fairy protection.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna work this hand. Whether he can get something through is another story, though. He doesn't have much.
That's the real question.
Yeah.
So Kefir just does it immediately. Of course he does. That's gonna block the ally. There's not gonna be anything that Thomas Keane can probably follow up with. Now, one thing that's interesting about this play, if Thomas Keane had a card. So if he had played that from Billy the Kid, he would be forced to play the 5 elements if he didn't have something else.
That's true. Yep.
That could have been really bad if he had played it from hand and not declared it. If you don't declare who it comes from, the opponent can be like, okay, that wasn't declared. I'd call a judge in the finals and just be like, this wasn't declared. I'm going to declare that it comes from Billy. I'm going to block it out. Now, in this case, Thomas would have had the select the slain, so I would have given him the tip of the cap. But that would have been such a high-level play to force the grasp of the 5 elements.
Yep.
That would force the discard of the 5.
Yeah, because the rule is you can only not declare it if it renders the play unplayable. In this case, it is playable, so it would force the special off.
But in this case, Thomas Keane's going to grasp of the 5 elements. Probably just going to get a low power card or something because most likely he's in power pack. Whatever it's going to be is whatever he can still fit into his hand.
Yeah, which is actually really bad for Phil because Phil needs to get something through.
Or maybe what he should take here if he's smart is he should take that 7 intellect and discard it out of his deck this time.
Yeah, that's probably a good choice. It's defense for the 5. So now it's.
I don't think it's gonna matter. But,
yeah, I don't either. Yeah. I think this is gonna result in a tie.
Select the slain. Obviously, he's not doing anything against that because even if he had a negate, the negate would want to go against the. Well, maybe I guess because if you offensively negate the fairy protection, you get the negate. I don't know. There's so many lines here, but I think the easiest thing is to just let Kefir have a power card.
Yeah.
Oof. A lot of intellect still in that power pack that he's going to dupe on next hand.
What is going on?
Kefir's playing his select the slain now.
But what's he drawing? Was that what was left in his hand, or?
Nope, he drew from the...
Oh, okay.
He drew 2 from that and then 3
Oh,
from the
I see. Okay, he was completing the...
So I think that's what
the rule is
as well, is if he reshuffles the power pack. And he does. And that's sometimes, like we said, our rule is a lot different than other games. If you need to access the draw pile for any reason, you do reshuffle. So he would reshuffle, and he would look at all 5 cards.
Now, this did change midway through the season, so there might be some misinformation regarding this because earlier in the season, the idea was if you could complete the partial effect, if you could still complete the effect of the card, you didn't reshuffle. You didn't have to complete the 5. It was just as long as you had some draw pile cards, you would choose from those. So, and then to simplify the rules, it just made more sense to say anytime you're out of draw pile cards and it's relevant, reshuffle. Reshuffle immediately.
Yeah, that is what we'd had in the comprehensive from the beginning. But, this is, we're also launching a new game that used to be an old game, so there's always a little bit of confusion with this stuff.
Yeah, some things it's just like there's the odd oversight with things just with specific interactions with every card game. Now I don't know how much the 6 is going to matter, but now, the question here for Thomas is whether you actually want the tie or you want to just move on and keep your Freya. No, he's going to take the tie. That's the right thing. Yep. And that's the battle. He had the confusion. Yeah, they both had their confusion.
Thomas had the confusion and the 1. Ooh, all right. I'm going to say this is probably going to be the last hand, or it's going to be the second to last hand. Because I think at this point where a 3 or greater kills Leonidas, Thomas is just shoving every hand. Unless he gets 4 or 5 dupes. He's got the Grasp of the 5 Elements to strip a hit or 2 off Sun Wukong.
Yeah. I mean, all he has to do is lead with his 5 and then play the Billy the Kid 5 and then work his way up the power card chain until he has to trade a 7 for an 8.
Now, probably it doesn't matter at this point, but Kefir can keep that teamwork as a bluff if he wanted to.
That's true.
It is playable by Leonidas. The only check for discards is it a special for a character that died in a previous battle, or is it a card that is unplayable because you don't have the grid anymore? That's it. And it used to be a very complicated set of rules to figure out what was unplayable. We have very, very simplified it. It allows a lot more ability to keep bluff cards, so to speak. So he could have kept that 1 more card. I don't think in this situation it's going to matter. But just for people learning the game,
now
2 things. Did a character die last battle and I drew his special? And is it unplayable because I don't have the grid? Not because I don't have the required follow-up.
Yeah.
All right, so Thomas makes a big bet.
Phil didn't draw an 8.
Kefir doesn't draw an 8. He runs.
Now
that puts Thomas, it looks like 4-1-2.
Now, one of the plays that might be able to buy Phil some time is if he uses the Merlin to negate the 7 intellect.
That is a great point. I hadn't even thought of that. That's a very basic. I'm thinking of you want to make sure you can buy that 5, but yeah, that's something that could potentially get him a little bit back in the game.
Yeah.
Now Thomas remembers this time and puts the 7 and the 8 in the dead pile, so he's going to start to filter out those intellect cards. But not before Kefir has to do the same thing this battle, and it looks like comes up with 3 duplicates. Looks like Thomas Keen's only got 2, meaning he's got the phone number. He's got the 1 through 8 because he's got 2 cards placed. And if he's got the ability, this is almost certainly going to be for the win here.
Yeah. That'd be the only reason why I wouldn't negate the 7 is if he's going for the win. But I mean, either way, it's a rock and a hard place. If he's got him outnumbered on power cards as well. So I don't know. I don't see how Phil wins this.
I've talked about this a few times, and when I get to these later game situations, I really try to think, I almost think of each open hit you can take as a hit point in a video game. And so right now, Thomas Keen essentially has 4 hit points to Kefir's 1.
Yeah.
And when you think about it that way, each card takes 1 hit point away. He can the first hit that's thrown is automatically just absorbed.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second hit, if it's against, he's probably going to have to target Billy even though he doesn't want to.
Yep.
He can't play into the Grasp of the 5 Elements.
So technically he could take 3 hits to 1.
Right. It's just, so he only goes 3, so probably not for the win. It looks like he gave Kefir the 8. Oh, Kefir bets the 2. Thomas is going to... Well, Kefir now is... He says, am I going to go 3 for the loss? Nope, I'm just going to go 2.
Yeah.
He's still thinking. I mean, the reason he's deciding if he's going to go 3 is only because he knows Tom can't keep the card. Thomas has already got all 8 cards. Whatever he goes is going to be a discard. All right, so Kefir opens with the 8. Tom opens with the 8. Kefir blocks with the 8.
I still think negating the 7 might be the right play because I think then you could take all the low strength power cards.
It's true. It gives you a lot more leeway that maybe you can return the favor. So
yeah,
it makes it so you have to deal with 2 5s in one hand,
which is not like the worst. It's not easy if he's got all the power cards, but if he's missing one, you could still overcome that. Especially if he's missing a high one, 5 or higher.
I mean, he's not... Kefir, I think you're right where Kefir's not going to win this battle. I mean, he's got all 8 cards and a 5 and the ability to strip some hits. You're not going to win the battle.
No.
I think improving your position for a future battle, I mean, Kefir's still somehow managed to not have a single card in the defeated pile. He's leaving himself that ability to still go for the win.
Oh, no. Now he's got 3. It's reversed now. Now he's got 3 in the middle and the rest are defeated.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm losing track of that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just such a tough position to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keenan is, you're right. He's just in such a dominant position.
You need to be either ahead on either characters or Venture to really have a shot, and being behind on both is tough.
In Power Pack with
placed cards.
A 3 is going to hit you. Yeah, you don't have the slots. You got an extra special placed. Yeah, it's going to be rough. He's going with the low power cards, which is good, but Keenan's got the phone. Thomas Keenan's got the phone number, so he's just going to keep throwing. He's going to block low and throw a kill shot every time, and he can still take a hit. You know, he might have even... that energy hit was for the kill. I probably even would have taken the 1 and thrown the 1 back.
Yeah.
Just accelerated that, concession and get to the last hand where I can bet for the win.
Now, is this a 4? I can't see the number.
This is the 4 multi.
So
in
this...
Tarzan fighting the Black Knight.
If I knew for a fact, for example, Thomas was playing 2 4s, I would immediately defend this, negate the 7, and then take that 4 next time. Because then you could strip out all his 4s. And if that's the case, you might be able to make back the 5 that's missing.
And that's something to think about, too, that you have to pay attention to. Like, counting, how many does he have?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you go to a Power Pack battle and you have multiple characters, letting a 1 or a 2 hit is optimal because a lot of people only play one of those. I'll do that very often if I can.
Yeah.
Absorbing cards and giving them less in the Power Pack is a viable strategy.
Another reason why your 1s, 2s, and 3s should all be different. You never want them to be able to merge them on one character by being like the same color.
Thomas blocks the 5 with the 6.
Yeah, and I think that's the way this is going to go for a while here. At least for one,
I don't think
more
it's
hand.
Go much longer. Thomas can go for the win here. So again, unless variance really bites him and he gets a ton of dupes.
Yeah.
He needs to just be in a battle where he can force. If he can go for the win and force Kefir to have to stay in, dump both the place cards off Billy and make him get blocked because they're both for the kill, then he can absorb hits on Billy the Kid or Sun Wukong because he'll have the heal and he won't care if Billy dies.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably seeing the writing on the wall. Kefir's going to dupe at least 2 here, maybe 3. I can't see.
Yeah,
he's got a dupe. He's got 3 dupes. Does look like he duped 2 6s and a 3. We've got, looks like 3 dupes out of Thomas as well.
Thomas is still up the 1 card, though, because of the placed power card, and he does have the other special placed. But
Thomas, all right, so Kefir does not look like he's drawn the 8. He does get...
He didn't draw the 8 either. That's what he realized.
He says it. I don't have the 8. You went for the win, and there is the handshake. Look at Thomas Keene taking down Phil Kefir, probably, again, the best player in the history of the game. Thomas still being pretty new to this game. And like you said, losing his first 2 rounds, you said?
Yeah, so that was the thing. He considered himself out of this tournament. So it's great to see that. Like when he ended up in the finals, and I joked with him on the day where I just said, "Oh, I thought you were out. How are you in the finals?"
Making it to the finals, just really, literally, other than one tiny power pack mismanage mistake that was pretty negligible, played a flawless game. He didn't get too greedy. He just got a little bit of an advantage at the beginning and never ever gave Keffer the ability to get back in it. And Thomas Keane is a former Magic Pro player, very very talented at these collectible card games. You've seen as he's had 2 top 8 placements. I believe this was his second appearance in the finals as well, wasn't it? Didn't he make it to the finals in the Philly one?
He was in the
Or no,
finals for
semifinals?
Columbus. He came second in Columbus as well. So yeah, he's so far going to be probably one of the. He's probably gone the deepest in most of the tournaments regarding modern.
Yeah, just what a fantastic year. And yeah, between a second place finish, a first place finish, and I want to say like a top 4, at least another top 8. Thomas Keane has made over $17,000 this season playing Overpower, over 3 regionals,
Yeah,
and he's still got another regional to go and the nationals.
yeah.
So it's going to be, if you're following his career, we are doing this after the 4th national, so we know a little bit of the future here. But keep an eye on Thomas Keane. What a great victory. Congratulations to both players. Keffer playing a hell of a day. We saw, I think, 4 matches from him. Taking Count of Monte Cristo to the final, which is awesome. We haven't seen a lot of that yet. And Thomas Keane winning out with the Sun Wukong Wicked Witch combo.
Yeah, I think this is a great event. Thanks to everybody for showing up, especially some of the new players and things like that. And I want to thank 401 Games for being such an awesome host. They made my job running this like a breeze by just supporting us so well there. So kudos to them, and kudos to everybody else that came and decided to show up for this event. So thanks, guys.
And we'll be back at 401 Games hopefully next year as well when we're gearing up for our August Skybound Overpower launch.
Yep.
So thanks very much, everybody, and that is the end of the Canadian Regional. Venture well, everyone.
Bye, everybody.